Hello and welcome to this session in which we will discuss grants, scholarship, and tuition reduction as it relates to tax compliance and planning for the CPA exam. In the prior session, we looked at various options that students can finance their education themselves or others they can finance the education for them, such as the 529 plans, the prepaid one and the savings account, the Coverdale Education Savings Account, Series E bonds, and we also look at student loans. Another option for students will be to receive grants, scholarship, and tuition reduction as part of their education plan. In this session, we would look at these various options: grants, scholarship, tuition reduction, and what are the tax consequences for them. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com.
Farhat Accounting Lectures is a supplemental educational tool that's going to help you with your CPA exam preparation as well as your accounting courses. My CPA material is aligned with your CPA review course such as Becker, Roger, Wiley, Gleam, Miles. My accounting courses are aligned with your accounting courses broken down by chapter and topics. My resources consist of lectures, multiple choice questions, true-false questions, as well as exercises. Go ahead, start your free trial today.
Starting with the federal Pell Grant. Now, once you hear the word grant, grants means you don't have to pay it back. And federal Pell Grant are designed to assist undergraduate, not graduate, who have not earned yet a bachelor's degree or a professional degree. To be eligible, you must be enrolled in an approved degree or certificate program. Approved by who? By the Department of Education. The grant amount varies depending on which year are you in, other factors like how much does your university cost, your need, for example, how much can you bring to the table, and how much do you need in addition if you qualify, whether the students is attending full-time or part-time. So you would receive some aid under a part-time. And the duration of the academic year, is it a full year or less? Now, the good thing about grants is no repayment. It's not like a loan, you have to pay it back. You don't have to pay it back. Now, when we say federal, there's also a state program, but we don't discuss this. But every time you hear the word grants, it means it doesn't have to be repaid. It's free money. It's not a loan. That's it. You get it? Now, there's a limit on how much you can receive in your education. Make sure you talk to your financial aid office if you're interested in that, but it's not unlimited. So you have to use it wisely, pass your classes. Otherwise, if you fail your classes and you have to retake your classes, you would lose your grants. There's also something called the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, FSEOG. This is aimed at supporting low-income undergraduate with post-secondary education expense, college students. Now, the first one was 100% government. These grants are administered and managed directly by the financial aid offices of your university or college. So what does that mean? It means not all colleges and universities will have this federal supplemental educational opportunity grant. Why? Because you're going to see why. You need to have some money because you need to participate as an institution in this program in order to get money from the government. The application process, you must apply annually for this funding to get the money from the Department of Education. So the institution will have to say, contact, somehow they apply. I'm not familiar with this because I applied for my own financial aid, but now the institution itself filing with the government to get that money. Then the government, the Department of Education, the DOA, would allocate funds based on a formula that considered how much the institution previously funded. Obviously, the more you fund, the more they're going to give you. And what's the need for their students? They would look at their student demographics. If it's low income, they might more likely to be getting some money. Now, bear in mind, this type of grant, the college or the university will have to cough up. They will have to pay into this program 25%. So if they grant you $1,000 under this program, $250 is coming from the school and $750 coming from Uncle Sam, the U.S. government. It's a grant. What does that mean? You don't have to repay it. But it's a supplemental, like Farhat Lectures is a supplemental tool for your CPA and accounting education. It's a supplemental grant, which is good. It's going to help. To summarize, both federal and the supplemental one offer financial assistance based on need and neither require payment. The main difference is the supplemental grant is administered by the school, and the school will have to cough up some money. Other options for students is scholarships and fellowships. This is great based on your academic achievement, based on your GPA. They might give you some sort of a scholarship or fellowship, or based on your major to encourage more people to enroll, they might give you a fellowship or a scholarship. So you must be enrolled in a degree program, and you're not getting this money for doing any work like teaching or research, because if you are, then this amount is taxable. The good thing about scholarship and fellowship, they can be tax-free. It's not only you're getting the money for free, you don't even have to pay taxes on it. The money has to be used, must be used for qualified educational expenses. And this would include tuition, fees, books, supply. Now bear in mind, room and board are not covered under this exemption. In other words, those are exempt, not covered under tax exemption. Room and board are taxable because you have to live anyway. How about another help for you as a student? Tuition reduction, an undergraduate tuition reduction. Undergraduate tuition reduction is a tax exempt. If the beneficiary, if the student's getting is an active or retired employee, or the spouse or the dependent of an employee, educational institution providing the reduction. What does that mean? I work at a university. Let's assume my son or my daughter attend that university. Because they attend that university, what's going to happen is they are going to, let's assume the regular tuition, just for the sake of illustration, is $20,000 per year. What's going to happen, because I work here, they're going to give them 50% off, dividing by 2, so they will pay only $10,000. So this reduction of $10,000, because they're only paying half price, 50%, that's tax-free as long as I am an active or a retired employee, and I'm paying for my spouse or for my dependent child. Graduate tuition reduction. That amount is taxable if you are a graduate student and working as a graduate teaching or doing what's called research assistant with a faculty. You would receive tuition reduction if this is your sole compensation. In other words, they're paying you for your effort. What does that mean? You are working. And what happens if you are working? The amount is taxable. Now, graduate tuition reduction is non-taxable if the tuition reduction is in addition to other taxable compensation that's not taxed. Simply put, you could be working, for example, you could be working and earning $5 per hour. And this is how much I believe I was earning when I was a long time ago. $5 per hour. Now, this work is work, therefore it's taxable, this amount of time I spent. I also get a tuition reduction. Now, the tuition reduction is in addition to other taxable compensation that's not taxed. So they paid me, I get a paycheck every 2 weeks, was, I don't know, around $200. Well, that's taxable. But they also reduced my tuition in form of a scholarship that was not taxable. Now, in summary, for scholarship and fellowship to be tax exempt, they must be used by a degree student, and that student is not providing any service in return, so they're not doing work. For tuition reduction, the tax status depends on the level of study, whether it's undergraduate or graduate, and the relationship of the student to the institution or the nature of the compensation. So graduate students receiving tuition reduction alongside other taxable income don't face taxation on the reduction. So the amount that they work for, it's taxable. The amount that they got in addition, not taxable. Let's take a look at this multiple choice questions by farhatlectures.com. Which of the following factor does not influence the amount of federal Pell Grant to a student? Does not. Well, let's start with what it does. The cost of attendance at the school. Yes, depending, your school might cost $40,000 or your school might cost $10,000. What they would give you is a different amount based on the cost of the school. Therefore, the cost of attendance is a factor. The student's financial need. Yes, you might need, let's assume it's $40,000. You might need $5,000 or you might need $35,000. Your need is depending on your need. How much can you come up with? The shortage, they will try to help you. So yes, that's a factor that influences your Pell Grant. The student's credit score. Now, your credit score is not a factor. In other words, they don't look to see if you're credit worthy or not. Here, what they look at in a grant is your financial need. It's based on need. Think about it. Most college, not most, yes, the majority, I would say most college students don't have even a credit score when they start because they don't have a credit. Therefore, there's no credit score for most students. It doesn't mean not all, most. Therefore, they can't use this. They would look at your need. And many students, they have maybe a lousy credit score because they ruined their credit score and they went back to school now. The government don't look at your credit score, look at your need for this type of grant. So C looks like a good answer, but let's look at D. Whether the student is attending full-time or part-time. Yes, that will affect, because if you're attending full-time, you might receive more money than if you're attending part-time, because if you're attending part-time, the cost of your education, the cost of attendance is less. What should you do now? You want to go to Farhat Lectures, look at additional MCQs. That's going to help you, whether you're studying for your CPA exam, enrolled agent, accounting classes, invest in yourself. Accounting is worth it. Your professional certification is worth it. Good luck, and of course, stay safe.